Ignition, I'm Ellis Friedman.
And I'm Ramon Ray with Infusionsoft. Ignition is a weekly show where we help small businesses, entrepreneurs, growing businesses learn all we can and help you sales and marketing best practices. One small business asks one question to one expert. So, Ellis, how can people reach us on the Ignition show?
They can email us at blog@infusionsoft.com.
Great. So why don't we get started? What's our question of the day?
All right, today's question is from Mark. I run a pool servicing company, and we've been in business for 6 years. We've been doing pretty well from traditional advertising, but I think we've reached the maximum return on investment from the ads. I've been investigating content marketing, and I'm thinking about starting up a company blog, but I don't know what we should actually be writing about. First, should I even be thinking about content marketing for my business? Second, how do I know what I should write about, and how will I know that it's going to eventually start impacting my bottom line?
Wow, Ellis, that is a challenging question.
Welcome to my life, Mark.
Wow, so thankfully we don't have to answer that question. We have an awesome guest with us today. So with us today is Andrew Davis, who's a best-selling author, and he used to work with the Jim Henson Company, the like Muppets and Puppets and all those kind of things. And he's a speaker, he's a marketing expert, and I've heard Andrew speak before, and he's totally hilarious and amazing. So, Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm excited about this.
Great.
It's a tough question.
It is.
Yeah, well, so what would you say to Mark? Where would you start?
With Mark, I would start with really trying to first identify exactly who he's trying to target with his pool service business. So
People with pools?
People with pools is a good start, but it might be community pools, which is very different than just people with pools. You know, it might be country clubs with pools. Just if you take those three different audiences, the kinds of content you were going to create, or even the advertising you're going to do, is very, very different. So you want to hone in on first which target audience are you going after, and at that point, I think you have a good sound beginning for a good marketing strategy.
I think that's a great point. So let's say he picks an audience.
Yeah,
Where do we go from there?
So if let's assume he's going to pick country clubs. Okay. Like I like to pick niches that people don't usually target. There's probably lots of people who target just people with pools, and so if you're going to target a market that's kind of got some opportunity in it. If you were going to go after country clubs, then the kind of content you're going to create, if you're going after a content marketing strategy, would be to now identify exactly who at those country clubs should be consuming this content. So it's not just for the country club members. Obviously, they don't care about who cleans the pool. It's maybe for the president of the organization, but maybe that's too high. He doesn't care. Yeah, so maybe it's the facilities manager, right? Okay. Who's going to handle the vendor relationships there? And then you want to start from there, trying to get into their mindset. All right, what are the problems they deal with every day at a country club? It's not just the pool, right? They have a lot of other facilities they're managing. And if you can help them with their day-to-day concerns and think about one piece of content you could create every week that will help country club facility managers be better at their job, then you're going to first start building a relationship with them. That relationship will help build trust, and that trust will help drive revenue. Right. Not even just for his pool servicing business, but probably even some partners that he could partner with.
Right, because that's what content marketing is really about, is building that relationship and that trust, and not about necessarily just going right for that sale.
Yes, if you're interested in content marketing, my motto is always content builds relationships, relationships build trust, and trust drives revenue. So think that way.
Definitely.
And Andrew, can you help us understand here, but going back to the targeting, I know this is near and dear definitely to Ellis's heart and mine, but for those who say that targeting, it takes too much time, or how do I do it? Let's go back to how could he do it? Because many small business owners may say, I would natively, not really, but almost say, let's just talk about pools. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. You know, you just got to clean and put some filters in, and we do that 100 times, be done with it. But targeting?
Yeah, I mean, the targeting is so important because that's where you get the premium, high margin, high profit business, right? Like if you just want any business and you want everybody to call you and you want a high volume of leads, then creating any content will generate that. What you want is the high quality leads. The leads are going to lead to the right kind of business for you. So my motto is get rich, target a niche. Okay, if you're Canadian and you're watching, it's get riche, target a niche. Okay, but the point there is you really have to dive deep enough to find the value for that consumer. So you've got to really spend the time to do it, and it's actually not that hard. I mean, if you go into your existing client database or your client list, and you think about who are your highest value customers, who are the ones where you get the high margin business from in the pool service business, and who are the long-term relationships. That's going to start to hone in on your target market, where you just want to find more of exactly those people. So let's go back and say, okay, because it might feel like, was his name Mark?
Mark, yeah.
Mark. Mark, it's not. I don't want you to think I was copping out by going with something really
And
niche.
please don't cop out to Mark.
No,
we are
Mark,
not
we're going to solve your
question.
problem
Yes,
here.
please.
If Mark said, no, I really want to go after the consumer pool business, well, then maybe his top 10 client list are physicians and lawyers. All right, well, if that's the case, then let's start thinking about those people's mindset. What do their everyday experiences look like? How can you add value, not just necessarily to their pool, but their backyard? What do they entertain a lot? When do you go out and clean their pools very often? Why do you go out very often? You want to start answering those questions and figuring out how you can be a bigger part of their everyday experience. What could you create once a month that they would subscribe to that would add value to their backyard even?
Right, that's a really good point because probably they're not going to want to be reading about the kinds of like shock treatments that they should be.
They don't really care, right? Like the doctor and lawyer example. I think they just want a really reputable, reliable, person. Actually, I just met a guy who installs hardwood floors. Okay, and he lives in Nashville. And I said, "Who are your clients?" And he said, "Well, did you watch the American, Country Music Awards?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, everybody on the red carpet are my clients." So I was like, well, holy crap. So then I went to look at his website. He had no website. I went to look at his LinkedIn profile, no LinkedIn profile. And I asked him, why don't you have any of this stuff? And he said, well, we value privacy for these clients. And the reason we get their business is we don't show pictures of celebrities' homes. We don't even let our employees know whose house they're working on. We'll call it Project 30. So they've embraced the simple idea that for that niche market, privacy is of the utmost concern, and they provide the right kinds of content and backup for that as part of their relationship building. So if you can start showing people you're different instead of telling people you're different, you'll be much better off in the content you create, even in the advertising you do.
Well, that's like a primary rule of good content and writing is show, don't tell.
That's right. Yeah, so I think if you can embrace, you could even look at the way you service your clients today. Start with the loyalty loop, I call it. And
Loyalty.
Can you explain
loyalty loop, yeah. So the loyalty loop is from the moment somebody decides to sign up with Mark's pool service to the experience they get to the point at which they refer him to someone else, okay? That creates a new set of loyalty loops. It's basically a good referral model. So if you can imagine it as the moment of purchase, then the experience they have to a new moment of inspiration where they inspire someone to go hire Mark and start a new loyalty loop. You can think of differentiating first the experience. What do you do differently, Mark, that for doctors or lawyers or country clubs that sets you apart and makes the experience really unique, and elevate that into the content you create, the way you advertise, and even your approach to the marketplace.
So thank you for watching Ignition, a weekly show to help you grow your small business through sales and marketing best practices. And Ellis, again, how can they reach us and what should they know?
Again, you should know that you can reach us at blog@infusionsoft.com.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Love Ignition? Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And don't forget to check out our resources section.
That's a space needle.
Cool.
Yeah. Sort of.
A needle of space.
I mean, the top looks like a needle.
That is true. Or corn on the cob.